today I'm going to be going over my second Jungle Cup tournament. My first tournament was post the new move update, so that meant Wigglytuff and Charm were in the game. However, this tournament is after the new charge move mechanic update, so I wanted to get another tournament in, and I also wanted to try something a little different. So I went on my merry way to a different local group and their Jungle Cup tournament. And for the team that I wanted to bring, I brought Double Electric with Lantern and Alolan Graveler. I brought Double Bug with both the Bees, Vespiquen and Beedrill. And then obviously I had a Vigoroth and backing the team up with Venusaur. This being an unweighted tournament, I wanted to see how well I could do without a Noctowl and a Fortress, which are both very standard on almost every team. I was also experimenting with how Team Preview affects the Pokemon that I see run against me. I stacked my team with Double Bugs and Venusaur to really try and hamper their Vigoroth usage, to try and take Vigoroth out of their game plan, and also to take Wigglytuff out of their game plan and make them beat me with their supporting characters. So let's see this team in action and get into round number 1. For round number 1, I am faced off against Brobirds, and this is a player that I actually faced in my first Jungle Cup tournament. So I went to a different city and played with a different group and ended up seeing a lot of familiar faces there, so nice surprise. And for Brobird's team, he has a Noctowl, Fortress, Vespiquen, Victreebel, Lantern, and Vigoroth. For battle number 1, I have a Alolan Graveler, and I have Vigoroth and Beedrill to round out my team of 3. He leads with Fortress, and this is a pretty good matchup off the lead for me. With Alolan Graveler, those rock moves are going to be doing neutral damage against this Fortress, and as long as he does not shield, I'm going to be able to win this matchup. So I'm going to send Rock Blast, and I don't have Stone Edge on my Alolan Graveler because I forgot to TM it before the tournament started. So I'm going to need to shield and Earthquake here. So I'm going to give up shield advantage, but by doing this, if he stays in this fight, I'm going to be able to take him out with just my fast moves. So down goes Fortress, and I've got a charge move going into his next Pokemon, and Alolan Graveler is pretty much done at this point, but he took out that Fortress for me. So as long as there's not like a Noctowl in the back there, I should be okay for the rest of this battle. I'm going to be able to answer this Vigoroth with Beedrill, and even if it is a Noctowl, if I can keep this Bee healthy after I take a Body Slam here, that does a good amount of damage. But if I can keep this Bee healthy and keep energy on it, I might be able to land a Sludge Bomb on a Noctowl or something. So I'm still in an okay position. I'm going to go ahead and send X-Scissor and start taking his shields. And another Body Slam gets to me, so I'm going to go ahead and shield that second Body Slam so that I can keep my Bee healthy. So charge up the Sludge Bomb, and I'm going to go ahead and send Sludge Bomb because I'm tired of dealing with this Vigoroth. So Sludge Bomb's going to take him out, and with no shields, his last Pokemon is Victreebel, and I need a lot more production out of Bees, so I'm going to send X-Scissor, and that's going to do a ton of health from that Victreebel. So Beedrill is going to go down here to those Razor Leaves, and my Vigoroth's going to be able to come out here, just take a Leaf Blade, and finish it off with a Body Slam. So getting these new charge move mechanics, I've been putting in quite a bit of practice, but you're still going to see me miss 1 or 2 here in the heat of battle, and I'm going to end up taking a win in battle number 1. For battle number 2, I'm going to stick with the same team and just switch my lead over to Beedrill. So he's going to end up leading with Fortress, and this is an okay matchup for me because Beedrill is actually not a flying type. Venomoth and Beedrill, a lot of people get confused. They are bug poison, they are not bug flying. And I'm going to send an X-Scissor here and try to take a shield or do a little bit of damage to it. And I still don't want to take a Thunderbolt from this Lantern because that's going to hurt me quite a bit. So right as the Thunderbolt comes, I'm going to switch into my Alolan Graveler and let him take this Thunderbolt for me. And that ends up saving me a shield that comes in handy later. So Water Gun's really going to take its toll on Alolan Graveler, but I think it was worth giving up my Graveler here. I'm not going to get off that Rock Blast against his Victreebel, but it was worth giving up my Graveler so that I kept my Bee healthy and I was able to save both of my shields. So I send X-Scissor, and I'm going to take that shield from him, and I'm going to get back to an X-Scissor here and I'm either going to kill this thing or take his final shield. So I end up taking that final shield, and I think he used the shield so he can get off this charge move here, and it turns out to be Acid Spray. So I wasn't quite expecting an Acid Spray in that situation, and that puts me at critically low health when I kill his Victory Bell. So instead of being able to get to a Sludge Bomb, I'm going to have to turn X-Scissor on this Lantern. So X-Scissor goes through, and we end up simultaneously knocking each other out, and that leaves Vigoroth as our final Pokemon, and they come out at the same time. But the good news is, by taking that Thunderbolt with Alolan Graveler, I ended up saving myself a shield and having a shield here, and I'm going to be able to farm up a little bit, and then I have back-to-back Body Slams just in case this first Body Slam isn't able to kill. But it is able to kill, so the reason that I did that was just in case my Body Slam wasn't able to kill, I had another Body Slam immediately so that he couldn't get off his own Body Slam and turn the match on me. So GG Brobirds, and we are going to move on to round number 2. My opponent in round number 2 is Hobbit Samwise, and this is a player that I have faced once before in Nightmare Cup. So looking at team preview, he's got a very interesting team here. Notably, he's got Wigglytuff, he's got Beedrill and Alolan Raichu, as well as having Lantern as his electric type attacker, and pair that with the meta Standard and Noctowl and Vigoroth. And this is a pretty good position for me to be in because my team is built to handle Wigglytuff, handle Vigoroth, and Noctowl between the double electrics. So the only thing that really bothers me about his team preview is Lantern, but I can't run my Venusaur here because he has Beedrill and Noctowl ready to go. So I see my own Alolan Graveler being the MVP of this match. So let's get into battle number 1 and see what happens. For battle number 1, I'm rolling with Graveler. I have Vigoroth and Beedrill to back it up, and he leads with Noctowl. So this is really good position for me, and he's pretty much going to have to switch immediately, and he switches into Vigoroth, and that's why I'm going to go straight into my Beedrill here. And I'm going to take this first Body Slam, which is going to put me in about half health. And that's okay for Beedrill because Beedrill, once you get some energy loaded onto it, it can really start rocking off charge moves. But he ends up sending another Body Slam, so I'm going to have to take out my first shield here. And I'm at Sludge Bomb, but I'm going to send X-Scissor and try to get some shields out of him. And X-Scissor still does a pretty good amount of damage if he doesn't shield, but he does shield, and I've got another X-Scissor ready to go. So he's already back in the position of deciding whether to shield, and he doesn't. So Vigoroth is actually going to go down there, and that's pretty good for me because he's going to end up coming back with Alolan Raichu. So Alolan Raichu is actually weak here to Bug because it has a Psychic typing. And I'm thinking maybe he thought that Beedrill was a flying type, and that's why he came with Alolan Raichu. But then I'm going to come back with Graveler, and I'm really scared of that new move Grass Knot on Alolan Raichu, so I'm going to immediately pull Rock Blast when it's ready, and I end up taking out Alolan Raichu. So his final Pokemon is Noctowl, and this is pretty much a wrap for me. So I think he mishandled his Alolan Raichu there, and if he had gotten off a Grass Knot against my Graveler, it may have been a little devastating because the only Pokemon that I would have had left was Vigoroth, and Noctowl can handle that in some situations, but luckily I had a shield and my Graveler still, and I end up picking up the win. For battle number 2, I'm going to stick with Alolan Graveler and Vigoroth and Beedrill. So I can already tell that he has made some adjustments. When I lead Alolan Graveler, he comes back with Wigglytuff. And I'm okay here for a little bit because it's going to take forever for Wigglytuff to get to a charge move. So I'm going to bank energy on Alolan Graveler and go straight into my Beedrill. And Beedrill's Poison Jab is going to do a ton of damage, so he switches into his own Beedrill. But by this time I have a Sludge Bomb ready. So I'm going to try to get a sneaky Sludge Bomb in on his Beedrill. And it ends up working. Even though it's resisted, it still does a ton of damage. And that's even the field a little bit, so I'm good to start spending shields. So I'm going to shield this Aerial Ace right here. And I didn't actually know that his Beedrill had Aerial Ace until our next match. but it's good I shielded there. I was going to shield no matter what it was, and I sent an X-Scissor of my own, and he was in the same position where he needed to shield. So I'm back and have the energy advantage, and I'm already back at another X-Scissor, and that's going to take out his B for me. So I pull up the switch menu here, and I mishandle this and switch into Vigoroth, which is fine, but switching from Vigoroth into Vigoroth is never a good idea because he has the energy advantage, and he's going to pretty much manhandle my Vigoroth with body slams. So he's going to switch into Wigglytuff here. And because I made that Vigoroth switch, I should have played it out with Beedrill and then come back with a Alolan Graveler who had energy on it, and that would have been able to take down Wigglytuff instead of me having to take this Ice Beam here. So Ice Beam is going to take out my Vigoroth, and I'm left with a tiny bit of health on the B and a Alolan Graveler. And I should have just came back with B to try to take this out, but I wanted to sacrifice a Alolan Graveler against this Vigoroth and put the battle back into my B's hands. So I send the Rock Blast, and it's not quite enough because he's going to take me out here with counters, and he's got the energy going into my Beedrill. So that was very well played by him. He managed his energy very well and ended up picking up a win here on our second battle. So we are going to a battle number 3, and all I did was switch my lead to Vigoroth, and I wanted to get Vigoroth in there because last time I lost basically because I mishandled my Vigoroth and let it switch into a Vigoroth with more energy than me. So I figured I'm going to put Vigoroth in there and just start letting him get energy first. So I'm going to send Body Slam towards his Lantern, and I'm probably going to do some damage here. A lot of people don't like to shield Body Slam on Lantern, so I'm going to send the Body Slam and then do the switch into Alolan Graveler and end up taking that Thunderbolt with Alolan Graveler, allowing me to save a shield. And I've done pretty good damage to this Lantern already. So I'm going to make it to Rock Blast and make him decide whether to let his Lantern go here or spend a shield. He spends the shield, and I end up taking him out anyway with my fast moves, but it cost me my own Alolan Graveler, but I still have a shield advantage, and my switch clock is counting down here. So I'm pretty much going to wait out my switch clock and then come in with Beedrill to handle his Vigoroth. So he showed his hand a little early there, and he has his switch advantage, so he comes back with his own Beedrill. I send my own Sludge Bomb because I had an energy advantage, and Sludge Bomb is going to take a ton of health from that Beedrill. Now, like I said before, I didn't know that his Beedrill had Aerial Ace on it, and I'm just lucky here by shielding that. I don't know if it was intuition or what, but he used it last game and I didn't realize it. I guess I wasn't paying attention, and I'm super glad that I shielded that Aerial Ace there because that could have been the end of my match. So Vigoroth comes out. After I Lucky Shield and survive, I'm going to go ahead and shield a Body Slam here. Just try to preserve health on my B. Farm up some energy and send the X-Scissor. So I'm hoping to get a shield out of this, and I do not. So we're going to keep fighting. And right as I was trying to tap my own X-Scissor, he sends Body Slam, and that's going to take out my B. So now I've lost my B with a ton of energy on it, so I'm going to have to come back in with my own Vigoroth and slap him down for the win with just my counters. And those are very fun matches and well played, so GG Hobbit Samwise, and we're moving on to round number 3. In round number 3, I get matched up against Autodidact, and I went to a whole new city, I went to a whole new group, and I did a whole new tournament, and I've only fought people that I fought before so far, so I haven't actually got a chance yet to put my hands to any of the new people, but that's okay. Looking at team preview, he's got Venusaur, Vigoroth, Noctowl, Fortress, Lantern, and Wigglytuff, and this is a pretty good team preview for me. The only thing that I don't really have a solid answer for is that Fortress, so I know I'm going to have to put a lot of resources into taking out his Fortress. Going into battle number 1, I've decided to lead with Lantern and have Vigoroth and Beedrill in the back, and the reason that I've done this is that to handle Fortress, I like having Lantern and Vigoroth both. So he leads with Fortress here, so I want to start getting energy on this Lantern, and if I need to, I can actually swap into Vigoroth but he ends up swapping into Wigglytuff. So I'm going to go ahead and send a Thunderbolt, and then I'm going to bail into my Beedrill. So I probably shouldn't have wasted energy there, but I wanted to go ahead and burn one of his shields because Beedrill's fast attacks are going to do enough to this Wigglytuff, and I'm going to be able to basically farm him down. He ends up getting to an Ice Beam, so I've got a shield for that. So I'm going to shield this Ice Beam here, and now I've got a Bee with quite a ton of health on it. So losing that energy on Lantern wasn't the worst, and of course he just comes back with Fortress. So having all that energy on Beedrill doesn't quite help me that much because both of these moves are heavily resisted by Fortress. So I'm going to go ahead and X-Scissor, try to bait a shield. Then goes Sludge Bomb. He's smart. There's no reason for him to shield any of these attacks. So I'm going to end up just letting Beedrill go. And there was basically no reason for me to farm that Wigglytuff for that much energy. And I ended up losing a shield because of it. So I'm going to come back with Lantern and make it to a Thunderbolt. And I think he makes a mistake coming up here because I had just used a Thunderbolt and I used all of my energy, and he's going to come in and use Heavy Slam. So I decided to preserve my Lantern, and he's going to save his Fortress for later, and he makes a mistake right here because he feels I'm getting close to that Thunderbolt, but he probably could have beat me down with counters. Before I got off that Thunderbolt, he ends up body slamming my Lantern, and that actually evens the energy when I bring in my own Vigoroth, which I didn't have a choice to bring in my own Vigoroth. It was my last Pokemon, so having them start out at even energy allows me to take some time here and build up 2 body slams. So now I have 2 body slams. I'm going to body slam his Vigoroth to death, and then I immediately have another body slam ready to go going into his Fortress. So Fortress is going to go down to another body slam there. For battle number 2, I just switched my Beedrill to Vespiquen, and I lead with it because I feel like my Beedrill has sufficiently scared off that Wigglytuff, and I like the matchup between Vespiquen and Fortress more than I like Beedrill versus Fortress. So of course Fortress comes out first, and I'm going to charge up here almost to a Power Gem, and I'm going to end up taking a Heavy Slam because Fortress Heavy Slam does a good amount of damage, but Earthquake does very little damage. So I like the matchup between Vespiquen and Fortress a little better than Beedrill because Vespiquen's a little tankier and I can take a Heavy Slam from him. So I'm going to charge up to another X-Scissor after sending one, and then swapping in my Vigoroth and start getting energy on it. So here comes Wigglytuff, and that's not quite what I wanted to see, but because Wigglytuff takes so long to get to a charge move, I save up for 2 body slams, and I'm going to send the first one and take a shield, send the second one, and he's going to let this one go through, and then it's just a race with Charm to my 3rd body slam. So I get off my 3rd body slam by not overtapping, and he's going to end up having to shield that if he wants to keep his Wigglytuff alive. So Charm catches me and Vigoroth goes down, but that's okay. I still have Vespiquen and Lantern, so I'm going to wait out the switch timer a little bit and come back immediately with Vespiquen because I had stored a X-Scissor on it. So Vespiquen takes down Wigglytuff, and back comes Fortress, and I decide to switch into Lantern just to save my Vespiquen in case this comes down to the last charge move. I like that Vespiquen can get to a charge move before Lantern can, so out comes Vigoroth. As I suspected, another reason why saving Vespiquen there was a pretty good idea, but Lantern with 2 shields is actually going to be able to handle what's left of that Fortress and this Vigoroth, so just be patient here, and I'm going to be able to one-shot this Vigoroth with Hydro Pump because he chose to shield his Wigglytuff twice. So it's water guns here, and I have a shield, so I'm going to be able to take down this Fortress. So between Vigoroth and half of a Fortress basically with just 2 shields and a Lantern. So that's why I really enjoy Lantern on this cup. And those were some fun battles, and GG Autodidact. Going into round number 4, I am facing off against another 3-0 player in this tournament, and it's actually finally a new face for me. So he is Merker88, and it is a high-ranked challenger, and I'm not quite sure what the playstyle is, but looking at team preview, I see Vigoroth, I see Lantern, I see Vespiquen. Those are 3 that I leaned on heavily in my first tournament. I also see Fortress, which is kind of an issue for my team because I don't have a solid counter, and I see Victreebel as well as Noctowl. So a very heavy meta standard team on a guy with a high ranking. So let's see, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to handle either a Vespiquen Vigoroth Lantern line or handle a Fortress Noctowl Vigoroth line. But either way, I like my Alolan Graveler in this situation, and I also like my own Vespiquen. So let's get into the battles and see how it shakes down. For battle number 1, I lead with Alolan Graveler, and I back it up with Vigoroth and Vespiquen. And I see him lead with Noctowl here, so this is pretty good for me. And I'm expecting Noctowl, Fortress, and Vigoroth from his team preview. And I've got the Noctowl, and I see the Fortress, so this is okay for my Alolan Graveler. I'm going to send a Rock Blast, and as long as he doesn't shield it, I'm going to be able to farm him down with fast moves. So he doesn't shield it, so I'm in a really good position here. All I need to do is shield whatever fast move this is, or whatever charge move this is, and it's Heavy Slam. So I've taken his energy, and I'm going to be able to beat him down with just my rock throws. So I'm expecting Vigoroth to come in here, and I'm about to hit Rock Blast. And it ends up being Victreebel. So that was a very, very sneaky play, having a Victreebel in the back there, and he Razor Leafs me to death before I could do anything. And he is staying in here, and he's going to take an X-Scissor, which I'm not expecting. I'm expecting a shield here. I'm thinking he didn't have time to switch out. And he's storing up energy, which I've seen right there. I know he's got something, and he put his Victreebel in the back on purpose. So I switch into Vigoroth against his Noctowl, and I know I've got to take out this Noctowl with my Vigoroth because I don't want any part of whatever that Victreebel has saved up for me. So I save up for 2 Body Slams, and I'm going to send the first Body Slam, and this sort of backfires on me because he is able to piggyback off that Body Slam and get his own Sky Attack in and end up taking my final shield. So he's got a shield advantage on me now. I have no shields, he has 1. I get my next Body Slam off, and he's got the shield for that. So finally even the score on shields, but this final Body Slam isn't quite enough to take out this Noctowl. So it's going to be all up to Vespiquen after he sends this Sky Attack, and I'm not quite sure how much health I had left on my Vespiquen, and I thought it was kind of lower than it was, but I also make a huge mistake here. I should have sent X-Scissor. But I just didn't. I wanted to overcharge, so I had 2 X-Scissors going. So I had 1 for the Noctowl and 1 for the Victreebel with the charge move, but I didn't get to it, and that was my mistake. He capitalized, and that was a good first battle. And for our second battle, I've decided to switch Vespiquen for Beedrill and keep rocking with the same team. I put Beedrill as a lead, expecting him to change his lead, and he did change his lead into Fortress. So this is not a good position for me to be in, but I know I got a little bit of time before he has a charge move, so I'm going to charge up and switch into Vigoroth. And I'm going to have to use a shield here against this Heavy Slam. So he's got a shield out of the way from me, and he comes back with Vigoroth. I figure I have an energy lead. I'll charge up to 2, and I've got 2 Body Slams here, and I'm going to send both of them his way. But he ends up playing this very, very well and calling it perfect and pulling his Body Slam right as I was pulling mine. Very good counting on his part, and he ends up getting a Body Slam off and taking my final shield. So I'm going to come back with my second Body Slam, and he's basically flip-flopped the energy on me. So it's a losing battle for my Vigoroth here. He's taken both my shields, but my Vigoroth did manage to do good damage to his Vigoroth, and his Vigoroth is critically low, so I'm going to just pull an X-Scissor and take down his Vigoroth before he's able to get any more Body Slams out. So Beedrill's going to take down Vigoroth, and then he's going to come back with Fortress. So I make a huge mistake here. I should have just switched to Alolan Graveler, but I was trying to wait around and see if I could bait out an Earthquake, and he's not biting, so I'm going to have to sacrifice Alolan Graveler here. I should have just went Alolan Graveler immediately and try to get as much damage done with my fast moves as possible. So now it's Fortress against B, and this is a terrible matchup for me. So I'm going to do what I can and send a Sludge Bomb. And Sludge Bomb's going to do a bit of damage, and then Heavy Slam is just going to take me out. So I was trying to wait out, see if he would use a charge move on my Beedrill and waste his energy so he wouldn't have an Earthquake for my Graveler. And he's smart, he didn't bite it, and he played all of my mistakes perfectly, and he's a very talented player. So GG Merker88, and we're going into round 5. And for round number 5, I am facing off against Jojen Reed 64, and it's actually from Team Preview, the exact same team that I had just lost to. So let's get into it and see if I can learn from my mistakes and pull out a win in this final round of the tournament. For battle number 1, I'm going to lead Alolan Graveler and have Vigoroth and Bumblebee in the back, and he leads with Fortress. So this is a pretty good matchup for me, as long as he does not shield my first Rock Blast. I'm going to be able to farm him down just like every other Fortress in this tournament. So I spend a shield and beat a Fortress as long as they don't shield that Rock Blast there. He does not, so I burn a shield, avoid the Heavy Slam, and he switches out, which is expected. So I come in with Beedrill against his Vigoroth, and he's going to Body Slam my Beedrill, and this is going to take me down to about half health. And I'm going to farm him up a little bit and send X-Scissor, trying to take some shields from him since I've already spent a shield on my Graveler. So I've evened the shields here, and I'm going to be able to shield this Body Slam here and then get off another X-Scissor. And I actually pull Sludge Bomb thinking that maybe he's going to try and save that shield for later. So he actually does save the shield for later, so I kill him with the Sludge Bomb, and then he comes back with Fortress, so I'm back to an X-Scissor, and I'm going to take down this Fortress with an X-Scissor and a couple of fast moves. And that Fortress didn't quite have enough energy to do anything about my Beedrill. Vespiquen comes in and one-shots Beedrill. And I'm going to come back out with Alolan Graveler, and he had farmed me up a little bit too much and got to an X-Scissor before I could do serious damage to his Vespiquen. So X-Scissor takes down Alolan Graveler, and now I'm in a pretty bad position. He's got a shield and a Vespiquen, and all I have is my Vigoroth with 0 shields. So these X-Scissors are going to start taking their toll on me, and I'm going to have to fight back with all the Body Slams that I am able to get. So I send Body Slam to take that first shield, and I'm just going to pull Body Slams as soon as I can get them. So the next Body Slam is going to go through, and Vespiquen is just a big tank, so it's able to survive and actually get off an X-Scissor. So this X-Scissor isn't actually enough to kill my Vigoroth. And then something very, very strange happens. We both hit each other once. My Vigoroth dies and then comes back, and the Vespiquen didn't really take damage. I feel like it should have been a simultaneous knockout, but that's okay. I went ahead and took the loss on that round. It was a 50-50 shot anyways. So for battle 2, and with the tournament on the line, I return to the Vespiquen, Vigoroth, and Lantern line, except I decide to lead with Vigoroth. And it looks like he's doing the exact same thing, and he leads with his Vigoroth. So it's the mirror match that we're all tired of at this point, and he sends his Body Slam as soon as it's ready. So I'm going to shield the first one, and then I'm just going to hold off and send 2 Body Slams as soon as mine get to 2. So because I've saved up for 2 Body Slams here, I'm going to be able to send them back to back. And I get it off right, and I think he has enough for his second Body Slam, but because I had saved up for 2 at once, I was able to take down his Vigoroth because he saves the shield. So we're both even on shields, and I've already taken out his Vigoroth. and I feel pretty good about this position. So he comes Fortress, and I go Lantern, and then he switches into Noctowl. So I'm thinking he wants to save that Fortress for something. So I'm going to play out this Noctowl. Maybe he's going to try to Sky Attack, Shield Bait me, thinking that I'm thinking that it's a Psychic here. So I'm not going to bite, and it actually turns out to be a Psychic, but that's okay. I still have enough health that I'm going to be able to make it to a Thunderbolt here, and I know he's not going to make it to a Sky Attack because he just used his energy on Psychic. So he's really putting a lot of stock into his Fortress here, but that's okay because I have this Lantern and a shield. I'm able to shield this here, and I know I have enough time to get to a Thunderbolt, which is really going to hurt that Fortress. So Thunderbolt's going to come out, and this is going to put Fortress in a lot of trouble. So because he didn't have shields, and I was able to shield my Lantern to get to that Thunderbolt. Now I pretty much wrapped up this match. I'm going to go into Vespiquen because it's at full health, just in case he has enough for a charge move or something crazy. And I'm going to take him down and even the score. So we're going into a battle number 3. So for battle 3 and the tournament on the line again, I'm going back to Old Faithful, Vespiquen, Vigoroth, Lantern. I'm the most experienced with this team, and I'm the most comfortable with this team. So I lead Vespiquen, he leads Noctowl. I'm going to have to switch immediately, and I switch into Vigoroth and not Lantern, so that's a little bit important later. I wanted to hide my Lantern in the back and not let him see it because I knew that Noctowl was going to be a problem, so he counter switches into Vespiquen. That's alright. I like Vigoroth versus Vespiquen more than Lantern. So Vigoroth is going to send those body slams back to back, and I'm going to try to eat his shields here. And once I get those shields out of the way, then Lantern's really going to be able to come in as a closer and really start putting the hurt on this team. So I get another body slam here, and again, really just trying to get those shields out of him. He's really hanging on to that final shield, so I'm going to end up burning one of my shields to get another body slam off. So charging up, and I get to another body slam, and again looking for that shield, don't get it. So he lets Vespiquen go, and my Vigoroth is pretty low on health, but that's okay. I used both of my shields just to fight out of a counter switch, which is fine with me. I get one counter off on the Noctowl, and then I am able to burn that Noctowl's energy. So I'm okay. Vigoroth did what he needed to do for me. So I come back with Lantern, and he's going to switch into Fortress. This is still an okay matchup, and it's actually the best counter to Fortress that I have right now. So I send Thunderbolt, but I also know Lantern is going to have to take care of that Noctowl. So I send in Vespiquen, and Vespiquen's going to have to take this heavy slam for me because I didn't want Lantern to take any moves from that Fortress, because I need as much health on Lantern as possible. So because he has no shields left, Vespiquen gets up to a Power Gem, and Power Gem's going to do good neutral damage to that Fortress and put Fortress pretty much dangerously low. So Vespiquen came in here kind of as a sacrifice, did its job, put the hurt on that Fortress even though it's supposed to lose that matchup. Lantern's able to farm that Fortress down, and I'm going to be able to eat this Sky Attack here. So I eat the Sky Attack, and then I'm just going to charge up the Thunderbolt, and he's got no shields left, and that's going to be GG for battle number 3 in round number 5, the final round of our tournament, and I managed to pick up a final win. So interestingly enough, the player that beat me, Merker88, was also able to be the only 4-0 player in the tournament, leaving 5 people with a record of 4-1, and this tournament ended with a 5-way tie with me being one of those winners. And I'd like to give a shout out to Lifter Bryce, Merker88, the Collector 06, and Not Fos. And those are my co-winners, and I had a lot of fun with this tournament, and I will like to battle with this group again. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.